We'll kick off our D2 wraparound in the Bluegrass State as Virginia State travels to Kentucky State to take on the Thoroughbreds, and VSU is coming off 3 consecutive winning seasons and are already off to a 2-0 start of the 2016 campaign. Now, they've done it with a well-balanced offensive attack and a smothering defense that has only given up 9 points a game. New head coach John L. Williams has quickly built a resilient bunch on the defensive side of the football for Kentucky State. His Thoroughbreds compete hard and do pose a legit threat to the Trojans. Right now, I just find it tough to envision Kentucky State beating the Trojans with the way senior quarterback Tarian Harris is playing football. Look for KSU to struggle sustaining drives as Virginia State comes away with the win. I hate to say this is a big game in week 2 between Morehouse and Elizabeth City State, but it's a big game as both Morehouse and ECSU come in at a crossroads. The Maroon Tigers are off to an impressive start, mainly due to the play of their defense, and Morehouse's offense has obviously scored enough points to win, and they do have a pretty good playmaker and wide receiver Lance McGuffey. For ECSU, they're coming off a close loss to Norfolk State and a blowout loss to Fordham. This is a crossroad games for them because 1, they don't want to fall to 0-3, and 2, this is their first Division II opponent of the season. If they want to have any chance of knocking off Morehouse, their third down offense will have to improve drastically. The Vikings can't keep relying on the big play, and I do like their chances to score against Morehouse. Look for the Daquan Neal to James Rowe combination to hook up a couple of times as they'll get the win at home. Northern Michigan has their hands full this week as they face the second-ranked Lakers of Grand Valley State. The Wildcats offense has the ability to make this a game thanks to their talented tailback Jake Mayen, who's averaging 105 yards and a half a game. Now, the issue here is that the Lakers don't take too kindly to the opponent gaining yards, especially on the ground, only giving up 3.3 yards a carry. A very tall task to ask for Northern Michigan. They'll be game, but it won't be enough. Look for defensive lineman DeAndre Hogan to wreak havoc. I like Grand Valley State. This is a huge game in a Great American Conference between Southern Arkansas and Harding. The Mule Riders have done a tremendous job on both sides of the ball this year. Their defense is really good on both ends, and they're facing one of the hotter teams in Division II football in the Harding Bison. Now, the difficulty in defending the Bison is trying to defend their vaunted triple option attack led by All-American fullback Michael Latu. For Southern Arkansas, it's simple. Don't waste possessions, and each one has to end up in points. That'll require quarterback Barrett Renner to protect the football. Look for a defensive struggle early, but I don't think the Mule Riders will have enough offense to force Harding to break their tendencies. I like the Bison to rumble on to 3-0. Southwest Baptist is off to a 2-0 start and has a ton of optimism about the season. The feeling is that this is a different Bearcats team, one of which they could post their first winning season since 2011. The Indianapolis Greyhounds are 0-2 partly because of a defense that struggles to get off the field and keep opponents out of the end zone. Now, as good as the Bearcats' prospects to look this season, they have given up a lot of points defensively, so look for the Greyhounds to make this a shootout, but I'll put my faith in defensive lineman Vice Epinesa and Via Manuma to create havoc to help out their secondary. I'm going with the Bearcats. Let's travel out to the Great Northwest Conference where Azusa Pacific and Central Washington meet up, and the Cougars look extremely talented this season, boasting wins over West Texas A&M and Humboldt State. They are fundamentally sound and they don't beat themselves. Now, Kurt Scobie and Samuela Fanua have combined for nearly 300 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. Defensively, Azusa Pacific is able to clamp down in the red zone and also on third downs. This game, their special teams unit better be ready to play as they'll face All-American Jesse Zulk out of Central Washington, who can hurt you in many different ways on offense. Now, Central Washington nearly upset FCS Portland State and bounced back last week with a decisive victory over Western Oregon and look to take down the Cougars in this upcoming game. Now, what I like about Central Washington is that they spread the field and force you to defend every blade of grass. Defensively, the matchup favors Azusa Pacific, and you have to take a great defense over a great offense. I like the Cougars in a close one. West Georgia takes on Delta State, what is, in my opinion, a good barometer for both teams. West Georgia's defense will be put to the test by the spread offense of Delta State, and the Statesmen's defensive front seven will be greatly tested by the mammoth offensive line of the Wolves. Both teams have good running games, but ultimately it'll come down to who can throw the football and who can defend the pass. And although they're undefeated, the Wolves have had some inconsistencies within the first 2 games. In this one, I think they have to tighten up mostly inside the red zone and not let mental mistakes become physical mistakes. Head coach Will Hall does a great job with his in-game adjustments, so we'll see how he approaches things offensively versus DSU. I can't see the bend but don't break defensive approach for Delta State working 4 quarters. I think it'll be a tight game that West Georgia will win. This is the game of the week, in my opinion. There should be a lot of points scored between Colorado Mesa and Colorado Mines. Can the Mesa defense, the secondary in particular, consistently make plays in space? That'll be the biggest test of this game, as Colorado Mines quarterback Justin Dvorak is one of the best in the nation, and their offense will go 4 wide and attack you vertically all game long. To combat that, the Mavericks offense is rooted in its ability to play multiple games. They can air it out if they choose to, or they can slow it down and beat opponents up in the trenches. I think that'll be their offensive approach in this one, to play keep away from the ore diggers. I can't see their secondary being up to the challenge for the entire game. I like Colorado Mines in this one.